it's challenging times, but this changing landscape is going to create some opportunities somewhere. If you're lucky and hardworking and make your own luck, you might be able to do something similar to what I did, which was to kind of like get on board something that's on the way up. And I can say this about being hireable.
Welcome to another episode of And I Made It, podcast where I talk to animators and creatives about their creative process from sketch phase to final renders. I'm your host, Mitch Fern, otherwise known as MF Scribbles. I have a really special guest for you guys today by the name of Freddy Cristy. He's working now as an animation supervising director over at Titmouse and has been working over at Titmouse since around 2003. We get talking about what that was like in those early years, working at Titmouse, what got him there, kind of the culture. I think anybody who is an animator knows about Titmouse and the amazing work they do. If you have ever watched anything on Adult Swim, you most likely have seen something created by Titmouse. I don't really want to spoil too much about it, but we do discuss a lot in this episode. We talk about the need for collaboration and how that's kind of been lacking since 2020 when everyone was sent home. We're not really in the same office anymore, rubbing elbows, kind of coming up with ideas as much. So we kind of get into that and how that's been affecting the industry. We also touch on the future of animation and the potential role of AI in the industry. And we try to conclude it with a hopeful outlook despite current uncertainties with the industry. I hope you guys like it. I'm going to get right into it, start the episode for y'all.
Hi, Mitch.
How's it going,
Hello.
Freddy?
Excited to be here. Honored to be here. Thrilled to be here.
Awesome. So, yeah, if you want to start off, I always like to ask all my guests right off the bat, who are you?
My name is Freddy Cristy. I've been making adult animated comedy for the better part of 20 years. Most of that at Titmouse, the studio that brought you Metalocalypse and Big Mouth and many, many, many other cartoons.
So, yeah, I know for this episode might be a little bit different than my past ones, just because we usually go really heavy into people's specific styles and stuff. But I know you kind of want to talk more about your career, and I'm certain that there's a lot of my audience that want to hear about your career as well, because you've been working at Titmouse, which is like, I think, the epicenter for a lot of animators out there of like their dream studio to work at.
My dream studio to work at.
Yeah. So when did you start working at Titmouse?
So I actually was. I moved to Los Angeles from San Francisco in like 2002, I think. And the first job I got down here was this weird little flash show on MTV called Chico and Guapo. And I worked on the first season. I had this weird break where I worked in a warehouse. It got picked up again. And I worked at this studio called One Red Room that doesn't exist anymore, although it kind of does in the form of Oddbot. And they do Disney kid stuff, right? Kid stuff. And I was making stuff for little kids. It was literally preschool stuff. It was like, look both ways before you cross the street kind of stuff. And I loved the work and I loved the people I was working with. I had, through the small number of contacts that I had made in the industry at that point, like I had been introduced to Chris and Shannon at Titmouse and my friend Paul while I was on this preschool show. He was like, hey, Titmouse is doing this, like, I think it's like a time traveling heavy metal band thing. And do you want me to see if I can get you on that? And I was super happy just where I was. I loved the people I was working with. Everyone was great. And I was like, nah, man, that's cool. I'm just happy here making this preschool stuff. Like I like the paycheck. I like the people. And then I saw an episode of Metalocalypse some months later, and it was the fucking bit with Dr. Roxo, the rock and roll clown, sliding across
Yeah.
stage talking about how he does cocaine.
Dr. Roxo, the rock and roll clown! I do cocaine!
It was the most amazing thing I'd ever seen, right? Like visually, like it was this weird, comic book style. The drawings were fucking sick. There's a crude edge to it, right? Like it's not slick, but the drawings were sophisticated in a way that you just don't see in animation. The backgrounds look like something straight out of a heavy metal magazine from the 80s, right? Like just this sick blend of fantasy and cool art. And it was so funny. And I watched that shit on YouTube and I was like, I fucked up. I should have told Paul, yes, I want to work on the time traveling heavy metal band thing, because it was the best thing I had ever seen in my life. And I'm like sitting in this office, I'm just like fucking vibrating because I'm like, that's it, man. That's the shit. That's what I want to do. Again, I mean, I love animation. I would work on kid stuff again. But if I have a choice, I am going to do fucked up adult comedy, 8 days a week. So I had been introduced to Chris and Shannon socially, right? I had their email. I sent Shannon a letter in which I threatened to kill myself if she didn't hire me to work on Metalocalypse.
That seemed to work.
It did seem to work. Don't do that.
I like taking notes. Okay, threaten to kill myself.
Don't do that. Don't do that.
What year was this again?
2003, 4?
2003. Okay, wow. So
Yeah,
that was
I could. I mean,
right
yeah,
when like YouTube was starting. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
So they did a position opened up where they could use me as an animation processor, and that was literally, just taking Flash art, right, Adobe Animate art, and like chopping up the designs and puppetifying it so that the animators could animate it. From there, I went from an animation processor to a layout artist. As a layout artist, I was just doing everything I possibly could in Adobe Flash or Adobe Animate and After Effects to like push the look of the show. Because I was like a zealot. I was like, like I was in the cult. They didn't even know it was a cult, but I was like their most dedicated, like, zealot.
Yeah.
So like anything I could do to just make it look better or like make it cooler or make it more epic or make it more awesome, I just took that opportunity. And, Chris noticed, and I just kind of worked my way up the ladder to directing. And I've been directing there for 15 years at this point, I think.
Okay. Yeah. So yeah, you said you start off as like a layout artist, you said?
Yes. Yeah. So layout is kind of the part of the animation process for those of you who don't know, and maybe this part of the traditional pipeline is disappearing a little bit. But layout is the part where you take your character assets and you take your background and you just kind of stick them together. In a digital pipeline, that could literally just be putting assets into a file that are roughly placed. Or it could even mean that you're adding a couple of key poses to the characters that the animators will like kind of go in and fill out later. Layout is a position that a lot of producers like to get rid of because it's very easy to think, why can't the animators just do this right from the storyboards? And that looks great on paper, but it downstream from that decision, you often run into hookup issues or scaling issues where if you had taken that step of doing a layout first and reviewing it with a director, showrunner or whatever, you would have caught that stuff earlier and you might have spent less time fixing things.
Yeah.
It's that kind of like look before you leap or measure twice, cut once type of philosophy.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it's like you'd basically be like almost like a file organizer so that the animators could pick it up and be like, okay, like just start working right away, right? Instead of having to collect all their assets, move all the
You hit the
characters
ground
around.
running.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Because yeah, the studio I used to work at, which is obviously much smaller, like we didn't have enough people to have a layout artist. So we ran into all those issues you were just saying of like scaling
Yeah.
issues. We eventually
Yeah.
had to make like charts for
Yeah.
everyone and remind people like
Yep.
this is how the size of this character.
Yep.
Because like there'd
Yep.
be like little puppet characters that one shot they're like at this kid's knee, and the next shot they're the same size as the kid. We're like, what's going on here, people? There's like a disconnection happening. So I definitely
Yeah,
understand the importance of a layout artist for sure.
you can remove the line item on paper, but that work has to get done at some point somewhere along the line. And if you don't do it early, you're going to do it later.
Yeah,
But people love to fix it in post, right?
not too much.
Not too
Not too
much.
people.
Yeah.
But yeah, so you started out as a layout artist, and then from there, like, what was kind of like your ranking up? Do you want to go through that?
Sure. Yeah. From layout or artist, I moved on to doing storyboards. And the storyboard position is, as a storyboard artist, you're the first step from script to screen. And so as a storyboard artist, you're a cinematographer, you're, like an acting director, you are an action director, you are kind of using the whole language of cinema in that stage. And yes, it looks rough, but like all of the decisions about like how this thing is going to be visually constructed, that happens in the storyboard phase. And I loved it. It is not work that you can zone out while you do, in my experience. And most storyboard artists will tell you the same thing, that this isn't the kind of work where you can put on a podcast or put on like a movie in the background and just kind of like get in the zone and make it look cool. No,
Yeah.
You're doing math, right? You're worrying about crossing the 180. You're worrying about, how do I get this character into the room? And you're also, if you work in relatively low budget television animation, as I have, you're constantly asking yourself, how do I hide the feet? Because that's expensive. Tracking feet on the ground takes forever. You know what I'm talking about, right? It
Yeah,
is like
nobody wants to animate that.
surprisingly hard to do.
Yeah, let's keep it waist up.
Yeah. Also, like, I'll be damned if I want to have a character pick up a fork off the table. Weird, right? Because weird little things like that can be really hard to animate convincingly. Anytime I get the chance, man, if somebody needs something in their hand, they're just gonna like pull it on screen from underneath.
They magically have it.
Like,
now.
Yeah, I don't need to see it. I don't need to see a hand interacting with a fork pulling it off the table, unless it's story, right? If it's crucial to the story, or if it's landing a joke, then yeah, it's worth it. But as a storyboard artist on a TV show, I'm constantly, I got this kind of like a, I don't know, like not a good devil and a bad devil, but like a cheap devil and a make it look cool devil.
Right.
And the make it cool devil is like, hey, you should do this. And then the cheap devil is like, think of the animators.
Yeah. The make it look good devil's like, hey, wouldn't it be really cool if he like picked up the fork and did a cool finger thing, flipped it around?
Yeah. The make it cool devil is like, let's move the camera.
Yeah.
And the cheap devil is like, what if we don't?
Yeah. So I think that's something that everyone goes through.
Yeah. But hey, there's ways to be economic and make it look cool, right? So in animation, especially if you're not in a 3D program, moving the camera can get pretty expensive pretty quick. But what's basically free is quick cuts, right? If you want to add energy to a scene, if you want things to start cooking a little bit, insert shots, man. Those are cool, and they don't cost very much time-wise.
Yeah, so you want to explain maybe what an insert shot is for anybody who's...
Yes,
Not familiar with them.
absolutely. Absolutely. Insert shot is like we're talking about the character picking up a fork, right? If I really do need that character to pick up a fork and I need to see their hand interact with this thing, instead of doing it in one medium shot, and by medium shot I'm talking about kind of like a waist up, right? And they're at a table and they've got this fork in front of them and they're going to pick it up. Instead of doing a medium shot where I'm asking the animator to, like do a medium shot where the character like picks up a fork in this medium shot. Instead of doing that, I might move the character's eyes to the fork in the medium shot and then cut to an insert, which is probably going to be like a POV of the character. It's just a tight shot of the fork. The hand comes into frame and pulls the fork off. Now the character's got the fork in their hand. So instead of trying to like, the script says the character picks up the fork off of the table. Instead of taking that like as written, like kind of literally, right? Oh, I guess I need to draw every frame of this character picking up this fork off of this table. It can be better to break it up into separate shots to increase the kind of kinetic feeling, if that's what you're going for. Also to decrease the expense of the animation. It also can make it look cooler, again, depending on the narrative flow of the story in the moment. But yeah, so an insert shot, those are those little shots of an action happening in a tight shot. I think the classic example of insert shots being used to increase the action feeling of something, you see this all the time in action movies, is like a gear up sequence, right? You've got your hero and it's time for them to gear up. And then you've got like a tight shot of a belt buckling, a tight shot of a bandolier going over, a tight shot of gloves going on, and then a tight shot of a pistol cocking, right? Now you cut wide and
Edgar
now
Wright
fucking bat. There you go.
shots.
There you go.
There you go.
Yeah. Yeah.
That Edgar Wright uses all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would always use Edgar Wright
just
for reference when at my old studio for like certain stuff when people were like, these characters, you're getting ready to go kill a monster. I'd always be like,
yes.
Here's an Edgar Wright shot, like scene.
Yeah.
Just copy this.
Yeah.
But it's also easy to animate, you know. It sounds like it would be more because it's more shots, but it's like the quickest like thing of someone like you're saying cocking a gun or grabbing a hammer or something, but it's like super close up, so it'll take you like 10 minutes to animate.
Yeah. Okay, Edgar Wright. Like, who am I to criticize Edgar Wright? But I just saw The Running Man, and how can you be so good at action, so perfect at action, and have so many great storytelling flourishes, and I don't believe one single word that's coming out of anybody's mouth in that movie. Like, I don't believe any of the characters are who they're supposed to be. Like, all I see are actors reading lines off a script.
Really? That's an Edgar Wright film?
Yeah.
I think I saw like a trailer for it or something. I didn't realize it was an Edgar Wright film though.
It's an Edgar Wright film. I had fun.
Check it
also, again, who am I to criticize Edgar Wright? But I literally stopped watching Baby Driver in the diner scene because I was like so far away from believing that these two characters had any kind of feeling for each other whatsoever. I bailed, man. I was like, I can't. Even if there is a car chase coming up, I can't watch this movie anymore.
The writing wasn't great. Yeah, I saw Baby Driver, but I don't remember much from it, so that's probably saying something.
Yeah.
All I remember is like the trailer.
I just remember rage quitting because I thought the acting was so bad.
Yeah, it's been a while since I've seen that one. All right. So yeah, let's get off the tangent.
No. Should we though? I mean, there's probably other movies we could talk about.
Edgar Wright.
Do you edit these? Do you edit these or okay? All right. Well, you should leave this stuff in. We can leave it in.
I leave most stuff in. I mostly just edit. Like, I don't know if there's just like long pauses or anything. If someone needs to pull something up, I'll like cut that whole section out.
Should we tell should we tell people why we know each other?
Should we? Do you want to? We could.
From the chicken fighting club
Yeah,
that we're
yeah,
members of? Not
I mean, I don't know if we
chicken
can.
fighting.
Yeah, I was thinking about this though. I was like, should I even act like I know Freddy in the interview?
We live together. Mitch found me living in his walls. Actually, I was sneaking out at night and eating food from his fridge. No, you and I know each other because we've been collaborating for the past year or so on a pitch that we're working on with the amazing Keegan Tyndall.
Yeah. So we'll see how it goes.
Yeah. So
crossed.
come on, America. Just make the right choice.
Just make the right choice. But that's all we can say for now.
Yeah.
But yeah, going back to the storyboarding. So was it Metalocalypse that you first started storyboarding for, or was it?
I had done storyboarding work before. That was the first storyboarding work I had done at Titmouse. Like the first professional storyboards I did were for a project I did right out of art school, where I like produced, directed, made it, did the whole kit and caboodle for this what do you call it? A PSA, public service announcement type message about air quality. It was for the Bay Area Air Quality Management District, and they hired an art school student to make this cartoon hero named Kayla, the Clean Air Champion. So I did this little 30-second spot for a PSA. So I storyboarded that, hired animators that were better than I am to do it, and composited it and did the whole kit and caboodle. So that was kind of the first professional storyboarding job I had. When I was, I kind of did comics when I was in my 20s. And so the idea of doing sequential art storyboards were a pretty natural extension from being interested in doing comics, which I had been since I was a kid.
Yeah, for sure. It's basically like making a storyboard, making a comic, except you make it look nice.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Storyboards, you can be a little bit looser with them. Although I never wanted to, man. When I was boarding, I just always wanted it to be as tight as possible and to solve as many things as possible. My position on that has actually changed a little bit as I've gotten more experience directing. I've realized that not to say fix it later, right? That's never really a good idea. But with storyboards, you can be a little bit looser much of the time as a storyboard artist in my world, because you're often going from storyboards into a process where the character assets are kind of puppetified. It's not like it was 40 years ago where the storyboards were then turned into layouts and it was all pencil on paper. It's like, no, you get a storyboard as an animator and you're going to be using you're going to be using Toon Boom or Adobe Animate or whatever 3D software, and the characters are kind of already rigged, right? 9 times out of 10, you're already going to have a character rig that you're working with. So you're not really as concerned with being on model in the storyboard, because why, you just don't need to. So
yeah, you just need to show where they're standing, like this character's standing here, and they walk in.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But for the love, don't show their feet. Don't show their feet.
Yeah, that's rule number 1 of storyboards. Here's a question that I do want to know. How much time would you have to storyboard an episode?
That is a really good question. I'm going to have to what would it be? I think we would have about 2 weeks for an 11-minute. I think it might have been longer than that.
That must be nice. So based off the projects I've worked on, having 2 or 3 weeks sounds incredible for an 11-minute.
Yeah, I think it was something like that. Look, that you need it, man, to do to really get some good work done. You can't, I'm preaching to the choir here, right? But like, you can't crush the schedule down so much that people don't have time to do their work. This is a job that you get if you love what you do and you bust your ass, right? Like there's like you do not get away with being lazy in this industry. Like you just can't. And here's the thing. Like all of this work is temporary by its very nature. You know, The Simpsons is like the freak, right? That show's been on for many years, but most shows don't get a third season. And even if they do, the work is temporary for the people working on it. But what I'm saying is this: you don't get fired. You just don't get hired again if you don't put in the work and deliver the goods. And we can all see it in the reviews, right? The one of the beautiful things about this type of work is like you can't spin it. Like you just can't spin it. Like if you underperform or you underdeliver, and you often are presenting your work to a room full of your peers and a supervisor to, it's like we know if you if you didn't fucking deliver, it's there on the screen. Like we can see it. So, um, uh, I guess what I'm saying is like animators by their very nature are extremely driven and hardworking people. And having 2 weeks to board an 11-minute episode, in my opinion, like that's about as low as you can go. Like obviously the world doesn't ever stop changing. The world that I was working in 2006 is gone, right? There's a new world on its way. But I think there are some things about the creative process that aren't that can't really change that much. And the human ability to create something delightful takes a little bit of time. And at the end of the day, that's what animators do. We surprise, we delight. Sometimes we'll break your heart. But if it's churned out low quality stuff, why would you watch it? Right? Like it's not really going to hit. So unless you are really delivering something that engages with people, you know, like what's the point of doing it? That's the way I've always felt about it. And the thing that I've seen in any creative project is that when people are the most excited about what they're doing, and when people are truly having fun making something, like making fun and working hard, right? When they're really pouring their heart and soul into it, that's when you get the magic. That's when you get the good stuff. You know, stuff that's just cranked out feels cranked out. And, you know, stuff that's rushed feels rushed. So I really, my hope for you and for the new generation of animators coming in, and like, look, I know it's going to be a different landscape, right? Like it's going to be a different landscape. Digitally, the tools are all going to be different. But the thing that I hope will stay the same is that there will be some kind of way to have this experience of pouring yourself into a piece of media, creating something beautiful and delightful, and having other people experience that delight with you, and you know, maybe even loving it more than you even did at the start of the thing. That's really like what art is, right? That's why we're doing this, is that we're human beings trying to delight or terrify or create some reaction or emotional response from our audience, from our fellow human beings. Like if it's not that, then it's worthless.
Yeah. Yeah. What was it like working at Titmouse? Because it sounds like you always speak fondly of it, especially like in the, mid 2000s, 2010s. What was it like working with all the people there? And like
It was
what was the culture like?
um it was a lot of fun. Everyone was making it up as they went along. It was a young studio. It was a small studio. And I mean, at the risk of like over glamorizing it, we're all human beings, man. Like I'm sure we made some mistakes along the way.
Yeah.
I can tell you that I had so much fun working at that place, like in the like circa like 2007, 2008, like a few years on either side of that. Metalocalypse was really popular. It was really cool, but still, it's still kind of like niche, right? So the studio was growing. It was exciting to have new people come in. The aesthetic of the studio was, it was very hip, man. It was very cool. There was a lot of there was a lot of hair dye. There was like a lot of drinking. We had a keg in the kitchen at all times. The design team on Metalocalypse had like a really fine whiskey collection, and they would like open the bottles about like 5 o'clock in the afternoon on a Friday, and like people were young. They were in their like 20s or 30s, right? There's a lot of partying, and it was gorgeous. I remember one IT guy who was in recovery, and like my heart kind of goes out to him because he was like, "Oh, great, there's literally a keg where I have to go
No.
to work every day. That's great for me as a recovering alcoholic. I love that." But it was looser in the way that like only, like a smaller studio can be looser like that. People were very friendly with each other. Like people were thrilled to be doing the work that they were doing by and large. And I had this story about my, first week of working there that just really made me feel like I was in the right place. As an animator, there's a lot of like technical specifications that you need to worry about. I mean, file formats matter. How you do things matters, especially if you're in a pipeline with other people. You guys got to be naming your files in the same way, using the same versions of software. All of that stuff is important. I was working as a layout artist on Metalocalypse, and Chris like walked behind me. I was, it was a tiny studio at the time. Like he was like one of 20 people in the whole building. And I was just like, "Oh, hey, Chris, should this be like is this like a TIFF format, or what is the file format structure, the technical specifications of this?" And Chris just said, "Make it look cool." And I was like, "Got it." Right. And I was off to the races. That was all I needed to hear, right? Make it look cool. That's the most important thing. Also, he probably didn't know what fucking file format I was supposed to be using. He's got bigger things to worry about, even in
He's like,
even in
shit,
2006, right?
make it look cool. Just like looked
Yeah.
at his list of answers on his desk that he
Yeah.
could get someone.
But at the end of the day, I mean, that really is what you're trying to do. And I try to pass that along to artists that I'm starting to work with, younger artists coming up, because what that means is have what's the word I'm looking for? Like the autonomy. You are authorized, right? As an artist working in this pipeline, you are authorized to make it look cool. Do what you need to trust your artistic sensibilities to make this look awesome. Could I put some caveats on that? Sure. Right. Like that doesn't mean you just do whatever. Right. Like that doesn't mean you get a scene and decide that you want to rewrite the dialogue that's in the script. Like that doesn't mean that like as an animator, you get to like add a puppy gag that wasn't there before. Said that, can you pitch a new gag? Yeah, absolutely. That doesn't hurt. I'm getting a little bit lost, but that Titmouse in the early days was small. It was kind of like playing in a band. There was like a lot of drinking. There was a lot of hair dye, and it was a lot of fun. But everyone was there because they loved what they were doing and they really wanted to do it. and that kind of magical energy that you have when you're young, when you are like in your 20s, early 30s, that kind of sensation of like, oh, we're going to reinvent the world, right? The art that we're making is important and will make a difference. That is one of the most beautiful things on the planet, that desire to share. And, some people lose it as they get older. Some people get kind of like beaten down and jaded. But if you are lucky enough to find a place in a creative industry like animation, all I can say is do what you can to like protect your innocence in some way. That creative urge, you got to nurture it and keep it alive as you go year to year doing your work, because you can get ground down a little bit by the day to day of just getting notes on your artwork and maybe working on stuff that you're not 100% involved in, or like 100% invested in.
Keeping it on the theme of the episode of the name of the podcast, and I made it. Could I ask what when it came to like storyboarding and stuff, and just like across the board, what programs were you guys using back in those days in like mid-2000s for like storyboarding? I know you guys said you were using Adobe Flash at the time, right?
Yeah, it's called Adobe Animate now, but for most of my animation career, we called it Flash. So I honestly, I don't want to say Flash was like responsible for my animation career, but the television landscape in the early 2000s was changing. So Flash comes along. In the early 2000s, animators were starting to play with it and make these funny little webtoons because it was a way to distribute animation on the internet where you could make a little 2 or 3 minute animated piece and people could watch it instantly. Back in the age of dinosaurs, right? You believe it or not, there was a time when you couldn't just instantly stream video. In the early 2000s, Flash and the Flash player was a way to show animations that loaded extremely quickly and you could watch them right away. And you had these like just weird little like Flash animations, and they tended to be giving people what they couldn't get in other places, which was like edgy adult animation. And our expectation in the 2000s, this is a lot different now, but in the early 2000s, culturally where we were at was still very much in this world of like, okay, cartoons are for kids and live action is for adults. And so to see a cartoon character doing something extremely violent or obscene was just hilarious. Like it was just shocking and funny. And so you would have these weird little kind of edgy Flash animations like Skull and Devil Doll with this coffee drinking gag, or there was this Flash show called Happy Tree Friends.
Yes.
And the whole bit, okay, yeah, Happy Tree Friends. That the whole bit was like they look adorable. They're like adorable little cartoon characters, and they would murder each other with hacksaws and sledgehammers, and blood would go flying everywhere, and like it was good fun, right? And we would gather around our CRTs in the office and we would watch Happy Tree Friends.
That was probably one of like the first like internet animated series, huh? Right? Because that was only on the internet, and I felt like it
was only on the internet, and it was like I was watching that on like Mondo Media, maybe. That was before Newgrounds even happened.
That was like super early.
Yeah, and then Homestar Runner might have been the most popular Flash animated cartoon. Homestar Runner, there was nothing. I mean, that wasn't particularly edgy. It was just weird and funny and cool and awesome. Like that was great. So Flash animation was kind of creating this domestic market for animation. Animation work had pretty much like all of the animating had been done overseas for a long time. Like the scripts are written in the United States and storyboarded, and the layouts were often done in the United States for shows like The Simpsons and King of the Hill, Rugrats, all of that stuff that was being made in the 90s. But all of the actual animation was being shipped overseas. Now, Flash created the ability for animators in the United States to create like full-length animations at a cost that would compete with the overseas model. And so you started to see some interest in domestically produced animation because it could be done cheaply enough to compete with the overseas stuff. Now, the quality wasn't really as good as the overseas stuff, but what it lacked in quality, it made up for in comedy. You know, it was just funnier and edgier and like more directly connected to the comedic sensibilities of the people who were interested in that stuff at the time. And so you started to see these domestically produced animated shows. There was this weird thing on cable, I think it was called Icebox. Like a lot of it was just terrible, man. Like I think there was a cartoon called Queer Duck, and like the whole joke was that it was a gay duck. Dark times, man. And then there was another one that was called like Mr. Wong, and the whole gag was that it was like just like some white dude doing a Chinese accent, and his character had like a fucking triangle hat. It's horrible. It's just stupid.
This is all internet stuff, or this is on?
No, this
TV?
was like getting onto cable in the early 2000s. These ultra low budget, edgy cartoons, and I was in art school when this was happening, and I went into art school with the goal of getting some kind of career going. I had long been a really passionate drawer, love drawing, love comedy. But I didn't really see a career in it necessarily. The Academy of Art College in San Francisco, which is a predatory lender, for the record, okay, they will give you, they won't give you money. They will help you take out a loan no matter how poor your artistic ability is. They will take anybody off the street. They will help you do the paperwork. They will help you take out that loan. They will then put that loan in their pocket where you will never see it again. And there was just this huge, there probably still is this huge churn of people who go there for a year or two and then just drop out because, you know, they probably shouldn't have been going in the art in the first place. They just don't necessarily have the drawing ability, the computer skills, the discipline it takes to actually keep up with the assignments, which are rigorous. Anyway, it worked out for me better because I went in really willing to work really hard and get the most out of every class. But yeah, that school, kind of evil, even though the Academy of Art College, for the record, I benefited from the education, but also kind of evil. Be really careful. I would say be really careful about taking out loans to get into animation because the landscape is changing and it is becoming very common for me to see people who never went to art school in this industry. And all they do is tutorials. They are self-taught. Yeah.
I'd recommend people to just like not even go to college. It helped me. I think it would probably be better to find, if you're someone who struggles with like following tutorials all the time, like maybe find like a class for just like a program that you want to learn. Because I think that's like the best thing I got out of going to college for animation was actually learning a lot of the programs the right way. But
agree.
Besides that, it's like it's all your artistic ability. I also did it. I went to a community college for animation because I realized very early on, I was like, I feel like it doesn't matter what school I go to as long as I make good art. And I was right. And now I don't have any debt, any college debt. And then I also have met a lot of, or looked at a lot of like applications and stuff at my last company that were like people who were like SVA grads and stuff, which I know is a super expensive school. And their work just like wasn't good. Like, I just didn't want to hire them because I was like, this art's not good. And I was like, that sucks. Like, you
Yeah.
spent 4 years and all this money, and you're like,
Yeah.
and then on the other hand, I find people, like you're saying, didn't go to college, but they've been just making stuff and putting it on YouTube, and their stuff kills. So I would hire those people.
Yeah. I love the community college road, especially now. The cost of education since I graduated, it's like, in some cases, it's like 10 times. It doesn't make any sense to me.
Yeah, it's crazy.
I know artists that are graduating from, the fancy one, Cal Arts, right? With like hundreds of thousands of dollars in student debt. Mind-boggling. And yes, like some of them are brilliant animators, and the Cal Arts program, like, they do really good work, but man, like $300,000 in student debt, like, and
Yeah, that's crazy.
you're trying to work that off in like an industry that is only getting more unstable day by day. I don't think it's a smart choice. Here's the thing I would say to people who are going to college, or just like young people, if you are lucky enough to be able to have this experience, it's an amazing one, which is the experience of going to college and living on campus with other people of your age. That is really incredible. That's really magical, special. If you're lucky enough to be able to do it, I would say try to make that happen for yourself. Or you could just do what you're doing, Mitch, which is just move to New York, right? Where
could do that.
you can.
Or another option you could do is I went to college in Austin, and I lived at a co-op, and the co-ops, it's pretty easy to, because you need to be a student, it's pretty easy to get away with fake your way acting like you are a student. And you could not even go to school, and you could live at the co-op, and you get the whole college lifestyle. You live with a bunch of college students, you party, you get that
That's brilliant.
experience. Because that was like, I went to community college, but I still got a college experience, which was like because I lived at the co-op. So that's another option. You could do that. Also, Austin Community College actually has a really good animation program.
I believe that. I love Planet Austin.
Yeah, because Austin has like a pretty decent, it's not a bunch, but a decent number of like small animation studios. Powerhouse Animation is there.
Okay.
They've done a few like Netflix things, and a lot of my professors like work there.
Yeah.
So on the side, they would just teach. So it's cool getting taught by like actual people. That one of my teachers worked on, what was that show? Transylvania?
Okay, I'm not sure I know it.
Is it Transylvania? The one that's the anime that's based off a video game?
Castlevania?
What's Transylvania?
Transylvania. I'm just thinking of Transylvania 65000, which is he's comedy, but that's not what you're talking about, obviously.
Castlevania is what I'm talking about, like Castlevania.
Okay, yeah.
He worked on Castlevania, like, I think it was like during the first season of that is when I was getting taught by this guy.
Yeah, and Castlevania, that I started watching it. It looks really cool, right? It's like action, adventure, kind of adult.
Yeah, it's like a Western anime.
Yeah. What do you call that genre? What, Western anime, I guess?
Western anime, yeah. I think it's like the same as like Avatar.
Yeah.
Would be Western anime.
Yeah, my wife is working on Mighty Nine right now, which I guess is like kind of Western anime, right? It's the Amazon Prime show it's the Critical Role people, those people that do what, Dungeons and Dragons stuff.
Yeah, I still haven't watched that. I need to check it out. It looks really cool.
It looks really cool. Okay, we're having just to go on a Dungeons and Dragons tangent here.
We're just going on a bunch of tangents. What did I originally ask you? I think it was just like about the programs and stuff.
Mitch, I really wanted to do this with you because I am under the delusion that like I have something to share with the up and coming animators, you know,
I
like
think
I'm
you
like,
do.
yeah, I've been doing this for a while. You know, I think I have some important things to share. But no, let's talk about D&D because like D&D and also okay, like you want to talk about Titmouse culture, like D&D is huge at Titmouse. Like Chris Bernowski has been playing the same D&D like he's been playing D&D with the same people for like longer than he's even been alive himself. They
They're
have
working
this
on a show, aren't
incredibly
they? Like a live action
yeah,
D&D show?
I bet they are.
I think
I
I
think they've
saw
had
like an interview or something with Chris or maybe he just posted a video about it because they have like a
I
room.
can't
They have a
keep up
D&D
with
room now
everything.
at their
I
office.
believe it, man. I can't keep up with everything that guy does. He's a dynamic individual, that one. But no, if you walk into the Titmouse lobby, you'll see these two vans, right? They're kind of vans that are built into the wall. And if you open the door of the van, you like duck in and you stand up and you're in like the most decked out D&D room you've ever seen. There's an enormous custom table that's often completely loaded with miniatures. It's
Wow.
like completely, there's like black lights on everywhere. It's sick. It's totally sick. I have played D&D like one time and I loved it. And I was like, I do not have time for this, man. Like I have other things I want to do with my life. It is like,
Yeah, because a lot of
and
times like, each
I'm
campaign
not
could be like
casting,
4 or 5 hours
I'm
sometimes.
not
So
8 hours. We were
or
in it
like
for 8 hours
you're in
and
it
I
for 8
loved
hours,
it.
man.
I loved it, man. It was creative. It was like goofing around with friends, but it was also kind of like improv and it was like imaginative and it was dramatic. And our dungeon master had such a wonderful way of pacing the story and crafting this experience for us. It was fantastic. And I was like, yeah, I don't have time for that. Like
I have too many adult responsibilities to keep this up.
I
Yeah.
can't give like 40 hours a month to this thing, man. Like I have other things. Yeah, I want to learn Blender more, right? Like I want to get better at Blender. Like I want to write. Yeah, I want to, I don't know. Those are the two things. That's it, really.
Yeah.
But India is having such a huge cultural moment right now. I watched the cold open of Mighty Nine, which you can too. It's on YouTube or it'll be on Amazon Prime in a minute. And I'm watching this action sequence. There's like, it's like a party of bandits, right? And they're stealing a MacGuffin, right? I'm going to assume your audience knows what a MacGuffin is, right? The MacGuffin, that's
I don't even know what a MacGuffin is.
MacGuffin. I get to tell you what a MacGuffin is. Okay, this is why I'm here. Okay, a MacGuffin. Alfred Hitchcock came up with this word. The MacGuffin is the thing that everyone is trying to get. And so the MacGuffin in a movie, it's often a briefcase full of money or a briefcase full of drugs, or it's the MacGuffin. And if you go to an AMC theater in Los Angeles, you'll see that the bar is called MacGuffins. It's a little inside joke. And now your audience also knows what a MacGuffin is. A MacGuffin is the plot device that people are chasing. So in this case, the MacGuffin is a 12-sided glowing dodecahedron, like a die. It's like the dice, right? But it's a magic one. And it's like glowing with all the magic, right? These bandits steal it. And then there's like 3 minutes of this high intensity chase / battle. And there's all of this magic happening, right? And I'm kind of following the action and like I get it, but I'm also a little bit bored because I kind of don't know what I'm looking at, but it looks cool. Everything's glowing. Their feet are glowing. Their hands are glowing. Shit's happening, stuff's blowing up. Like I'm having a pretty good time, but at the same time, I'm a little bit bored by it. And then I look at the comments and I realize I'm just out of the loop because if you play D&D enough, you will recognize all of those spells that are being cast. And the comment section on the YouTube page is all of these people losing their shit because they're like, that's the coolest depiction of like boots of jumping I've ever seen in my life. And I was like, oh, fuck, they literally know every spell that's being cast. Like, they can tell. It means next to nothing to me because I don't know the spells. But that's where we're at culturally, where like Amazon Prime is like, no, we're just gonna like, our cold open is just gonna be 3 minutes of magic spells, and if you get it, you get it. If you know, you know. If you don't, well, you know, it's not terrible. It's like a slightly boring action sequence. Gorgeous, okay, gorgeous. But if you don't know what you're looking at, like me, I'm kind of like, what am I? Why is that glowing? Anyway, D&D, huge fucking cultural moment for D&D.
Yeah.
Like, it's like people are just assuming you know. People are assuming that you play. People are assuming that you have a campaign going.
Yeah,
Do you
I
play?
feel like it has gotten a bit bigger thing. I was playing for a little bit. I did like 2 games at my last company because a lot of the people I worked with would play it, and that was cool because I played with like some people who are actually like professional voice actors, and that's always really fun. And then I had a campaign going on with my friends. I think it was already like last year. We did it like once a month for like, maybe we got up to like 5 or 6 months, and then we just like stopped. We just like slowly kind of, we were like, oh, like we can't do next week. Okay,
Yeah.
and I'm gonna be out of town, and then like eventually we are like, are we ever gonna play again? So that one kind of just fell through. So yeah, not currently playing, but maybe I'll start again soon.
Okay, well, it sounds like I'm not the only one who doesn't have enough time in their life.
Yeah. But yeah, also I don't know if I have enough time.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, you gotta like, yeah, you're in the throes of it, man. You'll get there. You're talented. Your stuff is amazing. But that, like,
Thank you.
It can be tough getting a foot in the door.
Yeah,
you know,
especially now. Yeah, do you want to start talking about like the just how obviously it's well known now for anyone in the industry that things are changing with layoffs, with AI, with streaming services and short form content. It's all moving the industry around right now and shaking it up. So yeah, I definitely want to go into that, get your thoughts on it, and hopefully end it off with something positive, because I don't want to I feel like so many people are so negative right now.
Absolutely. Look, stuff, shit goes up and down. And I'm hopeful about the future. You kind of have to be. There's more animation being made now than there ever was. Some things are going to be a lot harder about it, and some things are going to be a lot easier about it. Cool thing, it's easier than it's ever been to make your own animation. That's awesome. The thing that I think is harder is that I think there's more competition out there. So for aspiring animators who want to make a career out of it, it can be a little bit more, it's challenging times, but this changing landscape is going to create some opportunities somewhere. And if you're lucky and hardworking and make your own luck, you might be able to do something similar to what I did, which was to kind of like get on board something that's on the way up. And I can say this about being hireable. Some people, have you seen that Venn diagram where it's like how much of an asshole, how talented you are, and how much you charge?
I don't think so.
Okay. There's this Venn diagram out there about working professionally. It's kind of like these 3 weights. Like, how much of a dick are you? How talented are you? How good are you? And then how much can you charge? Like, my strategy is to just not be a dick. First, let's just take that off of the fucking table, right? There's no reason. You are gonna have way better relationships with the people that you're working with if you approach them with like just an open attitude of kindness, you know? Be ready to learn who they are, be ready to laugh at their jokes, be ready to see value in what they do. I think Hollywood has a reputation for being a little bit fake and plastic, but the reality is when you're working in a creative environment professionally, the default is friendly and fun for a reason. That's our job, to create a fun and friendly atmosphere in which creatives are free to pitch fun jokes, come up with cool ideas. Also, you know, like people who are enjoying their work will work harder. But for someone like coming into this industry, right? Like there's no reason to burn bridges, right? There's no reason to ice people out. There's no reason to like get into fights on the internet with people that you might be working with professionally.
I think I would
I'm not
say this
telling you
is
to,
probably one of the worst industries to be burning bridges in because it's so niche and so small.
yeah. You know, honestly, and it's changing too. And like young animators like yourself actually are the future of animation. You literally are the future of animation. You know, honestly, one of my strategies for survival is to be reaching out to folks like you who are up and coming, because you're going to be figuring out new ways to do these things. It's very easy to get stuck in the past. It's very easy to say the way that like our pipeline, you know, like our Flash pipeline from 2008 is the best pipeline, right? We'll never change it. No, that doesn't work, man. Like the world never stops changing. So here's the other thing, flexibility. Something that's really worked for me professionally is my ability to animate or draw in as many different styles as I'm able to as an artist. Like I'm not the best drafts person, but like I'm good and I can do my best to match an anime style. I can do my best to match a Klasky Chupo style. I could do my best to match a Simpsons style, right? Being flexible and being open to changing your drawing style or making the best effort you can to be on model and to embrace the style of the drawings is really helpful. Actually, that leads me into a tip for directors out there who are working with your showrunners or the people creating your show or the script writers. Because as a director, you're seldom the where the buck stops, right? You're kind of in between the animators and the showrunners or the EPs. Do your best to really get in the EP's head or your client's head. You know, if you're working ads or something, really use your imagination. Talk to your client a lot. Really try to understand them as a person so that you are able to guess what is going to delight them and where they're generally going to want to go with a thing. And if you have a fun idea that you feel confident will propel them in the direction that they're already going, by all means pitch that. If you have an idea that has nothing to do with what they're trying to do, but you think it's a really great idea, maybe sit on it. You know, like when you're working professionally, the client is always right. That's kind of how this works when money is changing hands. And that actually brings me to something that I really want to tell people who are lucky enough to start working in this industry. Artists like you and me, we are sensitive flowers, right? Like we are our hearts are overly open to the world. I think that's really what it means to be an artist. And any criticism, I hate to tell you this, but criticism will never stop stinging. You'll get better at handling it, but it will never feel good to get notes on your drawings or criticism on your drawings. That's just the way it is. And that can kind of wear you down a little bit. And I think the people who are the most successful at maintaining a good level of professionalism while receiving that criticism and while receiving those notes are people who have walled off a little area of their creative life. For me, when I was working professionally, it was music. For a lot of people, maybe they have a little comic they're working on. For some people, maybe it's poetry, or for some people, maybe it's just this small little animation project that they're working on. But as a creative person, you really have to have a little garden that nobody goes into but you. A little creative area in your life where you're not getting notes from anybody. Because it will drive you crazy. If you don't have if you're an artist and you don't have any area in your life in which you have total artistic freedom, getting notes on your work day after day, like you run the risk of like just having a meltdown, right? Because you haven't fed that, I don't know, you haven't fed the creative wolf. Am I mixing that metaphor?
Yeah, no, yeah,
like there's a
you have to
wolf.
like remind yourself like why it's fun, why you started getting into it anyways,
Yeah.
right? Like you need to
Yes.
have that outlet and like just sit down and draw for you every once in a while. Just like no rules or expectations.
Yes. Yeah, exactly. No rules or expectations except what comes from inside you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because you don't want to be that person that has a complete meltdown because your art director told you to change the color of the door from brown to green. Seen it happen. It's not pretty.
Working at Titmouse, was there like who were the people that were like working above you that I guess like helped shape your work or helped you like grow as an animator in the industry?
I am a shameless amoeba. Everyone I work with, I steal from. Everyone I work with,
Well, that's what you're supposed to do.
yeah. I mean, Chris P, telling me to make it look cool. Like that was a big one right there. And just seeing the way that he manages things kind of from afar. He's a busy man. But like just watching the way he handles clients and creatives, I learned a lot from that. Every showrunner I've ever worked with, I just like absorb stuff from them. My friend Benjamin Martian, who was one of the co-creators of Tigtone, I learned so much about film language from him because he's a film guy. And I just, the delightful years that we got to spend working together, I just learned so much about filmmaking and kind of like a kind of like DIY or guerrilla filmmaking aesthetic that he has from Jason Ruiz that I got to work with on Royal Crackers. He just has the most amazing knack for character. So I just like every little like thing that I can, I just steal from him and I internalize it about like, how do you make people cry? And I think that's something, that's really the gift of collaboration, like is working with people and just kind of like seeing how they do things. And then you just fucking steal it. You just grab it and like make it part of your toolkit. And, like if you're in a situation where you feel blocked, you can unlock that little mini, Benjamin Martian or Jason Ruiz that you have in your head, or that I have in my head, and be like, well, how would they handle this? And a lot of times the answer is just right there. But so I again, for people like coming into this industry or like coming into this moment we're having where everything is changing so quickly, learn as much, collaborate as much as you can with people. You'll learn and you guys will help each other form your professional note. Also, work your ass off because the people that you're in competition with are working their asses off. This is not a profession that you fall into because like it's not a profession for the lazy. It's a profession for the efficient, but the people who wind up in this industry are the people who are so passionate about it that they put in 12-hour days. I'm not saying that you should work for nothing, right? Like I'm not saying that you should let yourself be taken advantage of. I'm just saying that people who succeed are the ones who like are like truly passionate about it and truly talented and truly dedicated and also professional, right? You have to have the ability to take notes and receive criticism on your work and turn those notes around and address those notes in a way that like address the client expectations.
Yeah, I
And
wish I had like something for like I don't know if you have any suggestions for maybe younger artists or animators on like how to take criticism well, because I was looking, I mean, retrospectively, I was like really lucky that I had some really cutthroat art teachers in high school. I went to an
yeah,
art high school, and my high school would have majors, and I did industrial design. That's what I thought I was going to
yeah,
do before animation. And our industrial design teacher was like, she would literally like rip up your work that you like just pulled like an all-nighter on if it was like not good.
like physically rip it up. Like are
Physically rip
literally
it
like,
just like right in front of you. Uh,
wow,
and a lot of the projects were like, so like you had to do so many pages that it would, a lot of times you'd be up like all night.
wow,
And I think that just like it, she the only reason she did that was to really like teach people to like not, I mean, she wouldn't just like do it just to do it either. Like she would only rip up your work if it was like, this is crap and it's not what I told you to do, or like just like it did not look good. But
yeah,
it really just like made it so we learned to like not be so precious of your work, right?
yeah,
Like,
yeah,
and also it's being repetitive and making stuff over and over again. Like I feel like I'm never precious of any of my work because I know I can just do it again. Like if you
yeah,
gain that that skill, I would have no problem spending an entire week making a beautiful painting and then like leaving it on the side of the street for somebody to pick up, because it's like I can just do it, make another
yeah.
one if I wanted to, and
Well,
it's usually at the beginning of people's art journey that it's like, every little thing you make, you're like, I need this to be pristine and safe somewhere and nobody
yeah,
ruin it.
yeah. Well, I think it sounds like you got the right teacher. I'm not sure how well I would respond to that, but maybe I would have learned the same lesson that you did, which is like, hey, don't take it personally. That is the trick, right? Is to find a version of yourself that doesn't take it personally. It's hard. I just want to acknowledge that it's really hard because creative work like the work that we do is deeply personal. It just is. And you don't get good at drawing by not caring deeply about the process and not investing yourself in the process. I love that, tearing your work up. It seems a bit over the top to me. I'm not sure I would do that.
Yeah, I don't think I would do that either if I was a teacher.
You
I'm
know,
sure the people that, I saw kids crying in the hallway and stuff after class all the time, but uh,
yeah,
I think it would. I'm sure all those people are now working at really good jobs and doing very well
let's
in their
hope.
career.
Let's hope their industrial designs are like uh
Yeah, I mean, I know
well,
a lot of
here's
yeah,
the yeah, man, that's such a good question. And obviously I think it's like person by person. I would never rip up anybody's artwork. That's just me personally.
yeah,
In my experience, most artists are sensitive and they respond much better to a kind of positive framework than a negative framework. So you'll find this professionally a lot where you'll get a note and people are like, hey, that's great, but this looks cool, but it's not what we're looking for. And when people are real assholes, like people talk about it, like if you're a director and you are just like too blunt, too direct, too dismissive of the time that people put into something, like not, like people are going to be talking about that for a while. And I would say, again, it goes to that idea of, your own private garden to help protect your soul a little bit, to have an area of your life where you're not taking criticism from anybody about something that you're making. That's for me, that's my like that's my antidote, or like that's my, that's my remedy to keep your soul alive and also be able to work professionally and take notes. Look, I'm not saying that you need to, I'm not saying that people need to be coddled. Like, you can hear criticism, right, about your artwork, especially as an artist. It's literally your job. It sucks when people are rude. If people are rude, that's when you turn to your fellow artists who are in the trenches with you. And you're going to be like, God, that guy was a fucking dick, man. And they're going to be like, yeah, he was a dick. He didn't need to be an asshole like that. Do you still address the note? Yeah, you still address the note. Do you ever push back on a note? No, never push back on a note. You can ask for clarification if it's confusing, but it's so unprofessional to push back on a note. If your client tells you, like, I want it to be green, and you're like, I think it should be yellow. No, that's not how you do it.
Yeah.
Like, you could, like, if you really believe it should be yellow, you could offer an A/B version, but like,
Yeah,
you
that's
gotta
like
be
the
much more.
most you should do. Yeah.
Yeah. Lean on your, like, I would say in handling criticism, lean on your friends, lean on your community for that emotional support. Like, if you do feel butthurt coming out of a meeting with a client or a review or something, and I realize, like, this assumes that you have friends, but if
You
like,
go
if
on the internet, put your, I don't know, maybe that would actually be a really good way to maybe get used to criticism. Throw up all your artwork on Reddit and just be like, go to town. Like, just have people,
put your art,
just like let it rip, because then those people are, you get the unbiased opinions. Because I think growing up as an artist, most people, I definitely even had this, of just like, when you're growing up and you're drawing and you're good at it, everyone around you just like praising you all the time, right? Nobody's like, but like the arm's kind of weird here. The the cross hatching look like, if you're drawing better at all of the people around you, then you're a god, and nobody's gonna tell you that it's not. So I think a lot of people come from that growing up, and then when they get like their first job and someone's like criticize, like, they hear their first critique, they're all of a sudden like appalled. They're like, what are you talking about? My mother and my father told me I was amazing my entire life.
Yeah. Do you know how many pictures are hanging on my mom's fridge right now?
Exactly.
Do you know? All of them that I've ever done. Yeah. In my experience, the real ones tend to be their harshest critics. It's not often necessary to, like, lean on somebody for not getting hands right, because I mean, me personally, and a lot of the really good drafts people I know, they're good because they look at stuff that's better than what they do, and they just get like, I have to get there. My hand's not good enough.
I'm definitely guilty of that. I'm always saying like stuff that's better, and I'm like, or just stuff that's different. That's the thing that's kind of hard with art, because like there's a lot of stuff that even once you get good, you find something that you're like, it's maybe not better, but it's a different style that you're like, you like more, and you're like, oh, now I want to learn that.
I hate it. It's wonderful, and I hate it. It's wonderful, and I hate it when I see somebody do something that is like kind of close to the stuff that I like, or the stuff that I'm interested in doing, but I wasn't involved in it. And I just like, I get so, like, I get kind of jealous. It does push me. It does push me to work harder, because we're competitive. Like, just because we're sensitive artists doesn't mean we're not competitive. And that's very much what these rooms can feel like. In my experience, like, the best teams are the ones that are all working hard because they want to, not that they want to beat each other, but they just want to keep up with each other, right? So you get all of these, like, you get all of these art horses that are just racing each other because they love running. We love making art, and we love animating. And when we see people doing cool shit, spit flies out of our mouth. When we see people doing cool shit, it just makes us want to work that much harder and just do something that much cooler and like get that approval from the room and like get that response, which fuck, I'm not even sure if people are really experiencing that this much these days. I mean, I guess you get it online, right? With people like responding positively in the comments, but that experience of having an in-person review or even like a review in a Zoom.
I know so much stuff
just
is remote now, which is,
yeah.
I don't know. I'm on the side of like I want to work at a company that's like everybody in office, and that's just because I'm in a creative industry. If I
Yeah.
wasn't in a creative industry, I would not want to work in an office.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I feel like the thing that's missing with like people in the creative industry all working from home so much, it's like you don't get those like little like somebody walks in a room and then sees what you're working on and says one word and you're like, oh yeah, I didn't think about that. And then or
Yeah.
somebody comes up with an idea and they just spitball something, and then the writer like comes up with a new joke for the show or something. Like that stuff doesn't happen online, because it's like I feel like you could message someone an idea, but like there's too much like bandwidth, I guess, is like
Yeah.
before you actually, because in the middle of you typing that, you can be like, is this that important? Is that even a good idea?
Yeah.
That was kind of stupid.
Totally.
And maybe it is a stupid idea, but it could like spark another idea for the other person that's better. And I feel like if we totally get rid of that, I think it'll start showing in shows. I think shows will get
it
worse.
already is
Yeah.
Dude, I think it already is showing, the like compartmentalization and fracturization of everything. Like on one hand, it's so cool that you and I can have this conversation, on other ends of the country. Like that's really great. But there really is no replacement for actually having human experiences with other humans where you can like smell them, like not in a perverted way, but right. I'm just like these little micro details about like real life, like micro facial expressions that like that don't translate across the, video resolution, body posture, just kind of the energy.
Yeah.
I mean, there's the other thing that, I would encourage like young people, like go out into real life, go to comedy shows, go to figure drawing clubs, go to meet up in person, go get lunch with a friend, move to New York, right? Everyone move to New York.
Everyone needs to
right
move
now.
to New York. Yeah. I mean, yeah, I wish there was even more animators out here. I feel like there's a good amount, especially compared to most other cities, but
yeah. I mean, Southern California is still where the, industry is at.
Mm-hmm.
But to be perfectly honest, I'm not even sure that moving to Los Angeles anymore like conveys the advantage that it did pre-COVID. Producers are just so eager to take advantage of some of the lower wages that they can get from hiring out of state. And people are like also excited to take advantage of the fact that they can, I don't know, if you live in Georgia or something, if you live in like North Carolina, it's like, yeah, you could have a house, right? Like that's kind of nice. You can't have a house in Los Angeles. Nobody can.
Yeah.
The new law. Gavin Newsom said nobody can have a house in Los Angeles.
Houses.
Yeah.
They ran out of houses.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, like animation wages just there's a lot of downward pressure on animation wages too. It's really unfortunate, but it's just the fact of the matter that people are kind of like getting paid less because of inflation and because of just downward pressure. And the world is changing, but we're going to end on a positive note. Mitch, we're going to end on a positive note here.
I know. It's so hard to man, I went to I don't know if I told you about it. I went to the last Pictoplasma. It's like a animation / character design conference that they do once a year, and they do one here in New York, and then I think they do another one in London, maybe, or maybe there's a few other ones.
Yeah,
but yeah, I was there, and Titmouse was there. Antonio, I think.
Oh, Antonio, yeah, he's
there.
Amazing. Antonio's the reason Metalocalypse looked so cool.
Yeah.
Like I mean, like all of those like epic heavy metal backgrounds, like that he's crazy
He was doing the
talented.
backgrounds.
Yeah, I want like he's an amazing painter and digital painter. What
Yeah.
an eye too. And he's French, so he's just better than you and me.
But yeah, they had like a
But
part of to end off the panel, they had a thing that was like, it was titled something like uplifting of like the future of the industry, or like something that's like about the industry of like a positive outlook. And it was like the
yeah.
most negative thing. Like all of them just seemed like they're like, I don't know. I don't know where the industry's headed. I don't know where like what's gonna happen. This is what happened in our
Yeah.
like our experience, but it's been so long now that things are different. And I was like, yikes, this was supposed to be helpful. A bunch of, because a lot of the people that were there were like college students, like SBA students and stuff, and then it was just like,
Yeah. The
yeah, it's kind of making it not sound super positive. I
I
feel like
mean,
it's hard for people to
it is really hard. It
keep
is
a
really
positive
hard to
outlook.
feel, it is really hard to have a positive outlook right now because you and I are well aware that the extremely wealthy people who run the studios are salivating at the idea that they can fire 90% of the people who make this stuff and like have AI do like everything. I think that's unrealistic. I think they don't understand. I think they just don't understand human creativity and people's appetite for what they perceive to be like authentic content. It really seems like, and I'm what is this? You know, we're here in like November of 2025, and you and I are watching. You and I are watching AI get better and better every month at doing stuff, right? And we're also watching this AI bubble happen. Like in the long run, I'm optimistic. And I don't have a fucking crystal ball. I don't know. But like shit seems fucked to me right now. 70% of the people who are in the animation guild are on unemployment right now. It seems absolutely certain that AI is going to change the way that we make cartoons a lot in the next 5 to 10 years. Nobody knows what that's going to look like. We are also, as animators, creating, again, our job is to surprise, delight, and tug heartstrings. I'm sure you're as guilty as I am of spending hours on your phone scrolling like TikTok or Instagram reels or like whatever, right? So you and I, as entertainers, are now in direct competition with literally the rest of the planet who have phones and can record themselves saying and doing crazy things. Honestly, the only thing I'm kind of not worried about is like AI content because I don't know anyone who's enjoying it. I don't know anyone who's like, oh my gosh, I love this AI video of bunnies hopping on a trampoline. That's so great.
Yeah.
It's like, no, everyone just feels bad when they realize that what they thought was a real video of bunnies hopping on a trampoline is like fake. And that sucks. And we feel bad about it. And now we feel like we have dementia because we don't know what's real anymore.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that's the scary part is that like we're getting so dangerously close now of like not being able to tell what's real and not what is real and not real. And like the only thing that's stopping it now is like having either the Sora watermark or, the person that uploaded it actually labeled it as AI. But yeah, there's like multiple videos I've seen already that even I like watched it and I was like, because it's like I saw one that was like, it was like a dog, a cat, and then like another small dog. And there was like this fake carpet that looked like a fake hole that goes into the ground.
I've seen that. Yeah. That's AI.
Yeah. Yeah. And the dog throws his little the puppy on it. The
Oh, I
dog
didn't see
like,
that one.
they're like,
I
they like all walk up and then the
yeah,
bigger dog picks up the small dog and throws him. And
into
then he
the
just like
void.
stop. Yeah. Into the
Right.
void, but then it stops.
Yeah.
And then I looked at the comments and everyone's like, this is AI. This is AI. And I was like,
Yeah.
is it? And I was like trying to
Yeah.
look. And then I even saw at the bottom of the video, it said like, labeled as like AI, and I was like, what? I was like, that's like totally believable, like 100% believable video. Nothing crazy happened, but now it ruined it because it's like that didn't actually happen. That's just a fake. Yeah. So I feel like there might be more of that where people just do like the most subtle thing.
Yeah, but to what end? Like, I guess for views?
Just for virality. I mean, if you can auto-generate a video that you know, like, this is going to go viral because it looks real, and it's just like this little subtlety of it being funny.
And then,
but then it just
but
ruins
like
it because it's like, as soon as you know it's not real, it completely ruins the video. The only thing I'm on board with is like, if you want more golden retrievers with rocket launchers, I'm all for it. Golden retrievers shooting neighbors' houses with rocket launchers. You can do that.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. You could, even the stuff that like, even the stuff that is funny, or even the stuff that there's one or two things that crack me up where I'm like, okay, that's legit use of AI. But most of it just makes me sad. Maybe I'm an outlier. I don't know.
No, I think
mean, I guess we'll find out.
That. Yeah.
I guess we'll find out. Like, do people really want to watch things that are, I don't think so. I don't think so. I really think that what I see people want is authenticity. And that can look like a lot of things to a lot of different people, right? But the things that we love in our lives, we don't love them because they're the most like realistic or glossy. The things that we love because they feel the most real to us. Like, you know, from my generation, right? Like punk rock music, people didn't love it because it was well produced or that the singers were on key. They weren't. We loved it because it felt real to us. Like, I don't know, trap music, same thing, right? Like the things that really get us excited. I don't know, like fucking Ha Ha You Clowns looks great, you know, but it looks fucked up, and like, but it feels authentic, right?
Mm-hmm.
So there's the draw. Like, I don't know, maybe like, but hey, you know, authenticity is a moving target from like person to person, and maybe I'm just like naively hopeful that people will want to have something that they feel is providing them with an authentic experience of connection to, you know, like something, right? Like a scene or a group of people or something they think is cool or whatever it is. Like, or I don't know, maybe America just wants to like watch AI slop about like med beds and like cows dancing on trampolines or like whatever it is. Like, and we are gonna just devolve into like and not to get political, but we have gone way over the time you scheduled, by the way, but I can talk to you forever, Mitch.
No, like, I've always put just an hour and a half, but I've had plenty of these go over 2 hours before. So
right now we're living in, just to talk about the uncertainty, and like, Mitch, I believe the future is going to be all right because I believe in you and I believe in Keegan and our other friends that we're working with. You guys are great. Like the young people of the nation are not like the, you know, bowl of fuck soup that, you know, a lot of like the media or like TikTokers want you to think that they are, right? It's just not true. But right now, like, we seem like we're headed towards another kind of like financial collapse with this AI bubble. AI is literally poised to replace like 75% of like the middle class workers in America who like have these computer jobs where they actually make enough money to like save a little bit for retirement. But you're just going to wipe that out. And here's the thing that I think is hilarious. You've got all of these people screaming that we're not having enough babies. Like,
yeah, it's like,
what are they going to do?
I can't even feed myself.
What do you think they're going to do?
Hopefully something. I'm hoping that the bubble either pops or Or it might just be like AI will probably be around, but maybe just like it'll then become its own lane. And then, like you're saying, like the funny, crude stuff will just become even more like punk rock, and people would really like that. It's kind of like how, pop music is there's like
Formula?
a formula to it, right? To pop music. You can make like a person that knows that formula can make like any
Yeah.
song become a hit.
Yeah.
Kind of like AI, can make anything kind of like look good. But there's plenty of people that don't like pop music. I'm not a big fan of pop music, even if it's like, oh yeah, it's pretty catchy. It's like that's not. I do not. That's probably on the like very bottom of the list of things I'll actually listen to because I'm just not
Yeah.
into it. And I feel like that might be what AI becomes, like that just shitty, but even worse. Probably
Yeah.
even worse
Yeah.
because at least pop music, it's actually created by a human, not just like a robot.
Yeah. Yeah, it could be that. It could also be that it just becomes kind of integrated in absolutely everything. So that like even it's really easy for me to imagine in like 5 or 10 years, you're gonna have AI animation software that will like do a character turn for you and possibly have like some decent, okay, it looks like shit right now, but like animation software that could actually like deliver like a decent run cycle or like a decent character turnaround and kind of automate a lot of the more labor intensive kind of grunt work
Right,
stuff.
the stuff that nobody wants to do, like run cycles, or
Yeah, or like not that nobody wants. I mean, a person, yes, or the stuff that it's like because there's so many people who are brilliant at run cycles, right? And that can be like a form of art in and of itself. But if you're talking about if you're just trying to put a show together and you just need a character walking into a room and like stopping, it's easy for me to imagine that like in like 10 years or something, you're going to have software. You're just going to be like, okay, have this character walk from this point to this point, and it just kind of handles it for you. Maybe you have to tweak it a little bit. That's easy for me to imagine, but it still might be your character designs unless you use Gen AI to make them. But like, it might be able to like work off of like something that you as the creator came up with and is kind of like automating some of that stuff in between. And so now
yeah,
it's going to cost like, well, we were talking about it, we were talking about how many minutes of animation a week it's like literally possible for one person to do. You're kind of like, you're on that cutting edge right now as a freelancer. And what did you come up with? It's basically like two,
I could
three,
do.
depending on
Yeah,
complication.
depending on the complication, but like yeah, the stuff I'm posting on Instagram and stuff, it's like 1 minute a week. It's
Yeah.
usually what I'm hitting. Did
Yeah,
one
that
that was
sounds,
almost
yeah.
3 minutes. About like recently, that was took me like 2 weeks, 2.5 weeks. I think it took me 2.5 weeks, but afterwards, because I also didn't really work on the weekends or anything, so I was like, I could have probably busted this out in 2 weeks if I just like worked a little bit
Well, you gotta
harder.
rest.
Yeah, I
You
know.
know, you gotta rest.
But
Uh,
yeah, like two and a half
like,
weeks to do like a 3 minute one. So just
yeah,
depends. But that's like
yeah,
very,
that's
basic animation.
yeah.
But
No,
also, I mean, it's not too
yeah,
far off from stuff you'd see on Adult Swim for a lot of shows, so
right,
it's
yeah,
possible.
yeah. So, like, you might see, right, like 10 years from now, you might be able to, you as a single animator, you might be able to produce closer to 5 minutes a
Yeah.
week, with AI assistance. I mean, that's kind of seems like where it's going. It's those tools aren't here now. They don't
Yeah.
exist yet.
I mean, yeah, hopefully, because I think that's the correct way to be using AI. Like, yeah, to just like help out with like if you can't find a reference for something or you're having trouble, just like have AI do like 5 different iterations of how this person's gonna like jump over this car, and then you can use that and then be like, okay, and then use that as reference, like not actually use what they animated. Like that's what I would love, and I hope so. I don't know. I'm sure somebody's working on something like that, but I think we're jumping the gun right now where people are just so
Oh,
excited. They're like, No, just have it do everything. Just have it make the whole movie, and it's like, no, it's not gonna look that good.
I haven't used Sora 3 yet. I have to admit, like, I haven't tried that. Like, which, like, I'm against it. Okay, I'm against it, and at the same time, I feel like I really need to know what it can do. Right? Like, you have to know your enemy. I haven't used Sora 3 yet, but I can tell you that Google, at least this is a few months ago, had this animation software that's designed to make this kind of puppety animation. And I gave it some really simple instructions for these characters that are like sitting on a bench. And the end result was so laughably unusable and horrible. Like, I wanted to have the character do a spit take, and like the character designs like squished up and fell apart, and then like water started spraying from somewhere. There was no I'm making it sound cooler than it was. Like, it just was absolute, complete, unusable garbage. And again, that was like a Google animation product from 4 months ago. It's changing so fast. Maybe it's a little bit better right now. I'm not really sure. Again, I haven't used Sora 3. I don't know if it could do like an animation style.
Yeah. I mean, that's the thing too. I feel like from what I've seen and from what I've used to the little amount of AI that I've tried using, I think a lot of it's just like false advertisement. I've been seeing a lot of stuff, even on this, what we're using right now, Riverside. I have no loyalty to this company. They are doing up, but they keep implementing all this AI stuff.
Yeah.
Like, oh, make it like you can make yourself into a cartoon for like a little snippet. And I've been like, let me just see what it looks like, and just so far off from what the ad looks like, so bad. And there's been a few other apps that I've tried using. I know Artlist is also doing AI video and AI. They have like an AI voiceover thing, so you don't have to hire a voiceover artist anymore. Just type in what you want, pick your actor, and go. And I did it, and so bad, like repeating words, speeding up and then slowing down weirdly. And I'm like, this is so bad. I can't believe they put this out. It's not anything what the commercial looks like. I've been seeing the commercial that's like, pick whatever sound you want. It'll make your audio sound great. And it's like, it doesn't work. So whenever that happens, I'm like, okay, good. Like, I'm glad. But like, hopefully more companies are trying to use it and then realizing like, this is not saving us time. This is even taking longer because we can't even get it right.
Yeah. It's it's good at writing. It's good at writing. It's so far not really a threat to animators unless you're anxious to just watch really, really, really low quality animation, which I don't think many people are. Well, also there's there's a problem with it. There's like, I mean, like, AI is theft. That's literally true. You're violating people's copyright by taking their artwork, putting it into your database, and then modeling off of that. And the fact that you stole a trillion things doesn't make it better. It like makes it worse. If only we could live in a society where we would use this kind of like data tracking for good to give credit to people and to pay people for their work, right? Like, that would be should how it works. If your material is being used in a training model, like, that's your work. You should be paid for it. I think you should even like have part ownership in it. Like, even if it's like the tiniest fraction of a fraction of like a piece of ownership of this thing, like, if your work is in the model, that model should continue to pay you as it's used, as it makes money. But here's the thing, those models actually don't make money right now. I heard that, like, I think I was watching like an Adam Conover clip, and that said that those Sora video generations, like, it looks like they take about $5 each to make. That money is that's just money that investors are pouring into open AI right now. Who's going to spend $5 to make a crappy, like, I mean, I guess people would. I wouldn't.
Yeah.
But we're going to be okay, Mitch. We're going to be fine. It's all going to be fine. It's all going to work out.
I think at the end of the day, there's going to be a tipping point eventually. You know, so many people are jumping ship already of being like, we don't like this AI thing. You know, we're using it wrong.
Yeah. Again, that's my experience so far is that like people don't like it. They get bummed out when they realize that they've been duped. And there's like very few people who are like, I love AI generated content.
Yeah.
It's so good.
Yeah. Yeah.
But maybe that's just my friend circle, man. I don't know. Maybe am I in a bubble? Am I in a...
I don't know. I mean, I don't think it's just like an artist thing too. Like most of my friends aren't artists, and I haven't seen any of them being like, check out this cool AI thing. Like maybe I've had them send me something that's AI, and then they realize like a few messages later, like, oh shit, I just realized that's like AI. I feel like an idiot now.
Yeah.
Like they just, you know, but yeah, it's never like they purposely are like, oh my God, I love this AI stuff. So I don't think we're alone in that.
Yeah. No, we're going to be fine. We're going to, the generation of kids growing up, they're going to think that dogs have an instinct to throw their puppies into black holes if they find them.
Yeah.
If they see a void, if they see a hole in the ground, a dog's natural instinct is to throw a puppy in.
No, it's fake. Yeah. Thanks so much for coming on. I know, a lot of people are going to be interested in this episode, I think. And like, you know, I'm somebody who always was like, I mean, I'm still such a fanboy of like Titmouse and everything they do and stuff. So it's always cool seeing someone on the inside.
I'm still a fan too. You know, we're still making cool stuff over there.
Yeah.
Watch Royal Crackers. Go find Titmouse.
Yeah. I don't even think we like mentioned that you. I'll mention it in the intro, but that you directed Royal Crackers.
Yeah, go find Tigtone. You can't. You'd have to buy it from Apple TV, but it's worth it.
All
Thank you so much for having me. That
was
a lot of fun. And Mitch, we'll talk later.
Yeah. All right.
Cheers.
Thank you guys so much for listening to this episode of And I Made It. Thank you to Freddy for coming on today. Thank you to my buddy Nick Hassenlop for creating the intro and outro music for these episodes. If you guys want to check them out, you can go on Spotify and type in Nick Hassenlop, and he's got all his music up on there. If you like this episode, please consider subscribing and leaving a like below. It really helps the algorithm push this out to other people, and I know there's a lot of animators that would really find this useful and enjoy another animation podcast, because there's not that many of them right now. All right, see you guys next time.